were shot off of LeClaire and Maple. And the whole neighborhood was out and everybody was concerned and worried. And then the next morning I woke up, I had a message in my Facebook Messenger. And it was from a young man in my community who said, I know you don't know who I am, but I know that you do rallies and you do organizing work. I'm an ex-gang member, and we want to do a peace walk because they were just fed up of the shooting. So this is the gang members coming into my inbox. He didn't know me. So I took the brother number. I didn't really know him like that. And he said, well, could you come to this meeting? And I told my parents, and my parents said, don't go to that meeting. But I was happy that I did, because when I walked into the room, it was a room of about 20 to 30 gang members from the west side of Chicago. And they said that they wanted to get registered to vote and that they wanted to do a peace walk. Well, guess what, y'all? I got them all registered to vote, and we did a peace walk.
Hallelujah. Yeah. All right.
A lot of what I want to talk about is that we oftentimes overlook the people who we don't find attractive to register to vote. And this is a little bit for, we have some, who are the high schoolers that are deputy registrars now? Raise your hand. Yes. Who got trained? Okay. Welcome to the club. We'll be putting you to work. But for some of the older people who are in the room, seasoned, more seasoned people in the room, I just ask that you don't turn your back on the Black Lives Matter activists, on the activists from Good Kids Mad City, because those are your next congressional leaders. Those are your next aldermen. Those are your next mayor of the city of Chicago, and we continue to overlook them. And if we continue to overlook them, then we won't be able to create sustainable leaders. Dr. King once said that the moral arc of the universe is long, but it bends towards justice. I also think it bends towards equity, it bends towards freedom, and it bends towards liberation for our neighborhoods and our community. And I know a few of the speakers got up and they said, vote like your life depends on it, but what I want to say is, y'all better vote this time like your schools depended on it, because they do. You better vote like your health care depends on it, because it does. You better vote for it like your daughter's safety and not being sexually assaulted depends on it, because it does. That's what's at stake. And these elections. We have midterm elections coming up in November, and then we have our municipal elections coming up in 2019. And y'all, these seats are being challenged. They're being challenged by young people, by progressives, by people who are fed up with the status quo. How many of you are fed up with what's going on in your community? Let me get a hand clap if you're fed up. To the young people in the room, if you have lost somebody from your school to gun violence, can you please stand up? To the young people, if you've lost somebody to gun violence, I want y'all to look at this. You're not voting to continue to put the same people in office. You're voting to save their lives. That's whose life you're voting to save. And I commend y'all. Y'all can stay standing, because we need to pay attention to you. Thank you. I'm sorry. Sit down. I've had so many youth, and Carl Brinson in the back, who's been just doing amazing work on the west side of Chicago for decades. He worked with me this past year, and we took about 50 students from the west side and south side of the city of Chicago to Washington, D.C. for March for Our Lives. And it was the first time some of them had ever left the city of Chicago. And it was to do a direct action. And so they're ready. They're ready to take over their communities. They're ready to take over their schools, and they're ready for the change. And we have to be going through that wave with them. And I have Cheyenne here. Cheyenne, can you come up? Cheyenne is one of my mentees. So I do want Cheyenne to just say a few words to some of the young people. Cheyenne's been doing wonderful work with women and girls in the city of Chicago. She just came back from New York, mentoring young girls in high school. But you know, I do want to leave with you all that we need to be fired up, and we need to be ready to vote on November 6th and then in February in 2019. Are you guys ready to vote? Are you ready to take your community back? To the young people, are you ready to take your schools back? Are you ready for your friends to stop dying from gun violence? Because y'all are the answer, and we are who we've been waiting on. We don't need anybody to cape up and save our neighborhoods. We are exactly who we've been waiting on. And when we're talking about education, healthcare, and the ability to feel safe in our communities, that's not an American right. That's a human right. And too often we are not viewed as humans in our communities. And so I do want to thank you so much, and just give yourselves a round of applause one more time. All of the dignitaries who are in the crowd. And then Cheyenne, I do want you to just say a few words to the young people in the crowd as well, because that's a part of leadership too. That generations above us pass the mic to people who are coming up behind us. Yeah. So thank you so much for listening, and I do want to pass it over to Cheyenne. It don't have to be long, Cheyenne.
Hello everyone, I am Cheyenne McQueen. I am a member of Global Majority Youth Rising, GEMR. Those are some of my teammates as well, and we have cards for you. I just want to talk a little bit about voter education awareness, because we are a group who we're pushing voter education awareness in our schools throughout the campuses, and we're going on tours talking to the students about the importance of voting, and you know, just making sure they're aware of, you know, how these laws will affect them and how they are already affecting them. So the youth who are here today, I would love to give you guys a card so we can keep in contact, so we can be able to build on, you know, the amount of young people who are voting. Thank you.
And then we'll do